Ian, please tell us what was the process behind bringing this seat selection process to being redundant into place?
Thanks, Chris, and good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for stealing yourself away from the Germany-France game. I mean, at the heart of this, we said all along that we wanted to reward those people who committed to the team early, and that goes a long way back, even back to our days in USL and the commitment people made then. And this is a really exciting time for those people and the people who came after them and have made a commitment to be season ticket holders, to get an opportunity to be some of the first people to choose their actual physical seats in this new stadium. And as everyone's seen online and in the media, that the stadium's coming along fantastically well, and we're hugely excited to be able to literally let people sort of virtually in the door and go and make their choices. So a nice opportunity to reward those who've rewarded us with their support.
Thank you, Ian. We will now take it onto the floor, and we will kick it off by giving the floor to Ben Wright with Speedway Soccer and Broadway Sports.
Yeah, Ian, first of all, good to talk to you again. I believe I saw earlier today that you guys have sold 11,000 tickets for the new stadium. Could you just talk about the progress and kind of what your goals are for kind of ticket sale numbers heading into next season?
Yeah, we're over 11,000 now. I think just over 11 and a half, and that's kind of crept along. I think it's a big increase on last year. It continues to grow, surprisingly, with many games into the season now, and yet people are still making that commitment. And that's general admission season tickets, so it doesn't include the premium that we've already sold in the new stadium. I would say with everything combined, we're getting pretty close to half full at this stage, with obviously quite a long time still to go. Our ambition really is to keep that number going. I don't know that we have an individual number target. I think I would hope that we can get that number up somewhere near 20,000, maybe beyond. As we saw last year, I mean, we're working with a very small data set here at Nashville just because of the pandemic. I think we've had 2 games of unlimited support allowed, and one of those was 60,000 and the other over 20,000. So it's hard to know, but I think we feel encouraged that even in that opening game in 2020, we saw that a lot of people came late, a lot of people committed late, and for not everyone, that the new stadium I think is a huge attraction, and I think we'll see a big uplift. So our 16 team are doing a fantastic job. There's a lot of excitement about the new stadium, and I think our ambitions will be fulfilled.
We will continue with a question from Tim Sullivan with For Club and Country.
Yeah, Ian, you guys have obviously a variety of price points for season tickets, but I know certainly on the supporters end and some of the levels directly above that, you're on kind of the less expensive end in MLS. Is that a conscious decision that you guys made that you want this to be accessible? Is there something else behind kind of the pricing points you guys have chosen?
Yes, you're exactly right, Tim. Our objective here, I think if we go back to, when we were all talking a lot before we even kicked the ball in Major League Soccer, we talked a lot about John Ingram's vision of, building this team in Nashville for everyone in Nashville. And I think if you translate that in its various forms in different parts of the club, I would say that also means something for everybody's price point. And so, whether it's having a $12 kids ticket in the family section, or I think an $18 first string season ticket, lowest price in general admission, right up to the most expensive seat in general admission for a season ticket holder being about 115, I think. That's all designed around that, as is the premium product. So, that at some point there is a range between that $12 and the most expensive per seat, per game ticket in premium. And I think that was always our objective, was that let's make it accessible to everyone, literally everyone. everyone can afford $18 at least once a season, if not for a whole season ticket. So, that was a very conscious decision. We have a big old stadium that is ambitious, and we want to make sure that we give everybody the opportunity to come to that. And again, as I said, what we saw in our opening game was 60,000. This is half that size. But I hope the pricing appeals to people. When you think that you can bring a family of four as a season ticket holder in our first string group, a family of four for 2 kids under 12 and 2 adults for about $64 a game. I think that's hugely attractive in this market and in any major league sport.
We will continue with Ray Hills with the Tennessean, who has a double question.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ian. As we're talking about, obviously, the general admission, and obviously, as you mentioned, that didn't even include some of the premium seating that's been going on sale. Speaking of seating, at what point in the construction process, or would you say how far along before you get to actually putting in those seats at the new stadium? And then the second part to the question is, obviously, Nashville SC has 2 projects going at the moment with the training facility as well. What's an update on that?
Yeah, so on the seats themselves, Drake, I don't know the exact date. I know that the big focus right now is on the main structure. So sometime around about August, we would hope to finish the steel work and get completion, close to completion on the canopy. And as we go from there, there's a lot of work going on right now to build out the inner spaces, and the seating will come towards the end largely, but I don't know. I don't have a specific date. It's probably in the manifest. I could look at it, but we're hugely encouraged. I have to tell you, our partners, Mortensen, Messer, Populous, everyone who's been involved on the building and construction project. I mean, that thing is flying along, and we couldn't be happier with the work and the timelines that they're adhering to. And then on the other side of things, the practice facility has been a lot in planning and development. I think you should all expect that in the coming days, week or so, we'll start to issue some renderings of that. And again, it's moving along at the pace we wanted and expected. And, everyone, particularly, I was over at our academy this morning, where the first team are based currently, and everybody's looking forward, having a fantastic time down there at Curry Ingram Academy, but of course, players and staff will be even happier when we get to that new facility. But it's something that we've worked really hard on. It's in a great location, and having seen the renderings myself, I think our fans and the city will be very proud when we're able to share those in due course.
Tim Sullivan with
And you kind of alluded to it a little bit there in the answer to the first part of Drake's question, but timeline still on schedule, ahead of schedule, and is it still like end of May next year, the plan of opening date? Yeah,
plans very much on schedule. As to being early, I think that's way too far away to know anything of that sort. I think we feel encouraged, as I said, that we haven't had any delays. When we've had minor delays due to, let's say, significant rain or weather, our partners have worked around the clock, weekends and others, just to keep that schedule going. So, I think I've been involved in a number of big construction projects, and, I've never worked, I could honestly say, with a group that put so much into keeping that on time. It's also a very clean and effective, work site, and that's down to all the people that put all that effort in. But it's very much on time and on budget at this stage.
Dre Hills with a follow-up.
Ian, just out of pure curiosity, obviously with the stadium, it includes the sales, bringing in more supporters, and those sales as well. But I'm curious, outside of that and just the patience of progression of the actual construction, what are some of the other departments that you're working on as far as the stadium and what it entails? What are some other maybe different avenues that you and Nashville SC are working on as far as the coming of the new stadium?
It's a great question, Drake. I've used the phrase before that this really becomes the spiritual home of Nashville Soccer Club. And there's so many different vertical sort of pieces of business that we have to both recruit for and develop and then deliver. And that everything from our, you can imagine our merchandising business, where we're co-located with the Titans in Nissan, is a very different proposition to that, where we'll have 3 or 4 stores in our stadium, in our new stadium. And so building all of that, and everything from the look and feel of those stores to the merchandise that we have to pre-order to go in there, and putting all the process together. The same on ticketing. We have to look at parking in and around the stadium and the management of all of that. We have to look at all of these fantastic facilities we're building, from the 3 or 4 lounges and other facilities within the building, and a whole different chunk of people, certainly on the sales and executional side, looking at how we bring this stadium to life 365 days a year, not just for game day. So, internally right now, a lot of people very focused on delivering soccer in a new stadium, but, other people, as well as some of those people as well, other people come into the team that will focus on non-game day activity, will focus on things like concerts and other events within the lounges and private events. So much work. And then the whole food service side of the facility. So trying to build, again, I think I've talked about this before, but we've worked really hard over the last year, 18 months on building with Levy, our partners. We have a very special kind of deal and relationship with them that allows us to be very involved in the food choices and building what we call a food story. So if you take each of those in their own right, they're a huge project individually. So we're all keeping ourselves very busy, not just looking at the construction and, obviously day to day running our games and our business for the 21 season. We're all very focused on all of those verticals and making sure that when this facility opens, it's, unrivaled both in Major League Soccer and also in the city. So a lot of work going on in a lot of places.
Ben Wright with a follow-up as well.
Yeah, Ian, this may very well be too early, but I was just wondering if you've had any indication from MLS about next year's schedule, if you guys are expecting a long road trip to start the season, or if there's a potential to play at Nissan while you wait for the stadium.
Thanks, Ben. I think as we get closer to the end of this year, we'll have a better indication of our actual date. To the question earlier about on time, earlier, late, it's a little too early to know that, other than it's on time right now. Obviously that could improve or get worse in some cases, but we will have, and we are exploring both options. So, one where it's a shorter period from the season start to when we open, and therefore can we play, those opening games on the road, and another where that gap is too long and we need to play some games at Nissan and then transition in. I genuinely couldn't answer that question with any level of certainty at this point. But as is always the case, we, a bit like when we were trying to get back from COVID, you have to have 3 or 4 different scenarios in the drawer. And as soon as we're able to crystallize that into something that's definite, then obviously we'd share that with all of our fans.
Tim Sullivan with another follow-up.
Ian, are you guys pursuing, or have you made any progress on a title sponsor for the stadium?
Yes, absolutely, Tim. Lots of really positive discussions going on there. I think 2 or 3 companies really making progress with our sales team in the building here. And I was at lunch with one of those potential people today. I think we feel confident that we have a great facility that's clearly attractive to big brands. It's really about landing the best fish at the right time. And but I'm pleased and encouraged with the interest we've had, and pleased with the work that our team, internal and external, are doing on that. So I feel confident that within the right time scale, we'll appoint somebody and then make a big splash about that at the appropriate time.